video, we want to talk about working with the stitch width, length, needle positions, mirror image, and everything you can do to any of these stitches that are built into the Pfaff Creative Icon 2. Hi, I'm Sarah from sewingmastery.com, and I love taking stitches and playing with them and making them do other things than just what they were originally set up with the default settings to do. Now, I've been playing around here, so I want to show you a quick way to get back to a straight stitch. Do you know you can come right back up to the top where the Joy OS of sewing is and then touch sewing. It asks if I want to clear my ongoing work, and yes, then it takes me back to a straight stitch, clears everything back out, and that sure beats turning the machine on and off, which, by the way, is another option, but that just is so much faster. Touch the center bubble at the top to find the Start New option. Okay, so when we get to a stitch, again, this can be moved around. So if this is really big or small or you want it out of your way, once you've picked a stitch, you can minimize it really easily. But here's what I want to do. We're going to live down here in the Edit Stitch menu area. And this is where you can actually change your stitch length. So you have a default stitch length, but then you can make it longer. Notice anything that is orange is highlighted. So that means you've changed it or adjusted it. And at a glance, you can see, oh yeah, I've made it longer or shorter. Oh, or if the numbers are still black, that means that they have not been changed. It's a great easy fix. Now, if you just want to clear out what you've done, you can also touch the same stitch, and that's a quick way to clear out any settings you've done for that particular stitch. You could also, let me change it so you can see it, change a couple things. If you go to another stitch, and then come back to that stitch, that also will clear out the settings. So people always ask me, how do I get it to clear out? Just leave the stitch or reselect the stitch. So stitch length, you can make everything longer or shorter. Now this is a stitch that you're not really going to see the length change here, but if you were sewing, you would see it. So let's go to a stitch that actually you can see us change the length. What you see on screen is what you're going to get. So can you see how this stitch is getting longer? We can also change the width and get it to be wider. This is actual size. So for those of you who are very visual, you'll be able to look at your screen and go, oh yeah, that's the size it's going to be. That looks good. I should be close to the settings I'm looking for. So this is actually a super quick way to see what you're going to get before you sew. Now, there is one other thing. So speaking of stitches that have an option to move side to side, so needle position. So right here under width, the word width, you have a little toggle switch. Just touch it. You're not really trying to slide it, just touch it. And now you have what's called position. That would be needle position. Now, since this stitch is not a full 9 millimeters wide, I have the choice to slide it to the right or to the left, kind of like right justifying it or left justifying it. And you can actually get it to switch to a side. I do this a lot in my Pfaff Stitching Cosmos online course. I'm always taking a stitch and I need it a little to the left or a little to the right to line up with something else that I've done. And this is how I do it. I live with adjusting needle positions. So stitch length, stitch width, and needle positions all hang out under Edit Stitch. Now we also have the option, let's go ahead and find a decorative stitch that kind of is not symmetrical. I'm going to go to a larger stitch, maybe even one of the bigger stitches here, the maxi stitches. So here, how about this one? This one's super big. What we have the option, you have mirror image. Okay, so we can flip-flop it. Now, did you notice there are some little lowercase i's hanging out around your screen? If you touch that, you'll get even more options for what you can do with that particular stitch and also what they're called. So if you're unsure, oh yeah, that one's my mirror image, this one's my edit stitch, and this is my edit sequence. So it gives you like definitions of what everything is. That's helpful. And even here on the lowercase i, this identifies that these are our maxi flowers. We're in menu 5.4 And then these are all, oh my gosh, these are so fun. So stitch these out. Make sure if you're stitching out your stitch book, you give yourself some extra room because these puppies are big. As you can see, remember, actual size is showing right here off to the side of our screen. We can even undo some of these and then be able to see even more of the stitch. So you can't make these any bigger, but you can make them smaller or closer together. So you can alter these. And don't forget, you can bring these stitches over to embroidery and actually embroider them in a hoop. Now we're talking about doing a stitch book in your hoop. Yes, you can. So we'll save that for a later video once we get over to the filming the embroidery videos of the Pfaff Creative Icon. So the cool thing is that you can change your settings with length or needle position while you're sewing. So if you're over here at your needle and you're sewing and you want to see what it's going to look like longer or wider, you can come right here, touch the screen while you're stitching, and it will increase the size. It will not damage the needle or anything. You can touch and change it while you're sewing. So I hope you'll give some try on some of these other adjustments that you can do, because some of these stitches will look totally different with a little tweaking involved. So I hope you'll check out all of our videos. We have links below in the description to the complete playlist of the Pfaff Creative Icon 2 free video tutorials that we're doing on your beautiful machine.